Hey everybody, Matt Drewette-Card here, up in Ridgeview Community School in Dexter, and what we're going to do for a few minutes here is we are going to be talking with teacher extraordinaire Jen Batron. We're going to be touring her classroom, looking at her space, talking about things like flexible learning spaces, talking about things like student-centered learning, and what is it that we're trying to do? What is it that we want to do to make the environment better for kids, better for learning of whatever their exceptionality, whatever their needs are. So I know we're short on time because we're in the middle of a class day, school day, and this is I'm stealing your time. So let's just see your space and talk about what it is you're trying to do and want to do, and challenges, successes, etc.
Absolutely.
So flip this around.
So this is a fourth grade classroom. I teach a fourth grade, several different fourth grade groups in here, all different abilities and independence levels and behavioral differences. And what we are trying to do is to turn this space into somewhere where it is comfortable for the kids to come in and work at their ability level and in their comfort zone. It is in transition. We are not done with this. I don't think we'll ever be completely done with this. It's something that we started a few, well, I'd say weeks, but I guess it was a couple of months ago now. And as you look, as I show you the room, you'll see that there are places where it's still a disaster, and that's just part of that movement that we're doing. We haven't found a home for everything yet. So I guess what I'll do is I'll just kind of talk about what we've got going on with the tables and the seating. So I have a few, we call them wiggle stools. I'm sure that there's an actual name for them, but the kids and I have just decided to call them wiggle stools. I've got several of those that I actually borrowed from a different grade level. And we also have some yoga balls floating around here. This is one of our casualties, which I will come back to in a little bit. The kids, to a certain extent right now, get to choose what works best for them. We took the first couple of weeks when we were transitioning into the alternate seating, where I had all the kids try all of the different types of seating, so that they could kind of try it and just see what was going to work best for them. And that understanding that not everybody needs to have that kind of a seat, which is a whole separate conversation. So right now, they're kind of scattered around the room. They're not in any particular place. We've got our chairs stacked up. The kids that are using the blue plastic chairs right at that moment, just take them and stack them in a separate part of the room. The kids can use any of these seats wherever they happen to need to be in the classroom. It doesn't have to be at a table. They are right now because that's where they were just before they went to their special. We've got our space for our rug area over here is one space where they can work on the floor. There's another rug on the other side of the room. Very often kids will choose to lay down. We'll do our mini lesson. We'll get them so that they are settled in what they need to be doing, what their job is. They'll grab a clipboard, they'll go make themselves comfortable, and they'll get their work done wherever they happen to be. Whiteboard is kind of at the quote-unquote front of the room, but as you see in the classroom, there is no official front of the room. It isn't set up like that anymore. Which is something that we're working on getting used to. We have our, there's our other rug. That's our library area, and our cubbies, because we don't have desks. That's a totally separate mess over there. But it just gives the kids some place to keep their things while they're within the classroom. So when we do need to use something that's just using the whiteboard, I'll usually have the kids come and sit in this area. We'll do our mini lesson where they're focused, and then they move off to wherever.
So can I just stop for a second? In order to do that, you move the tables and things out of the way?
Yeah, well, these have actually crept up during the course of the day. They're usually back a little bit further, and so I'll have the kids either sit around at these tables here, they can sit on the floor, whatever is working best for them, so that they can come up and be part of that group. I'll occasionally do that with small groups also. However, the bottom part of that wall underneath where our calendar math is actually whiteboard. It's been painted over with whiteboard paint, and so I do a lot of small group work there, which is phenomenal.
That works well?
Yeah, it works very well, yeah. I want my whole room done in whiteboard. Let's see. We have over here, I'll just kind of take you through here. I stopped using my teacher desk because all it ever did really was collect stuff. So it has become kind of an electronics area. We have our Osmo here. The kids will come up and use Osmo. This is, they'll use this to, as the projector to be able to show their work. My drawers are no longer my space. This is where we keep different manipulatives for math because I want the kids to be able to access it easily. All of my storage down here has become space for kids. That's where we keep all of our school supplies, inside recess games, which is really necessary right now.
Yeah, it was. It's for those watching. It was a little cold this morning.
Yeah, negative something or other with the wind chill. So we're just keeping them all inside.
It's brutal today here.
Yeah.
So indoor recess happens.
Yeah. So I try to have. I've given up on the pencil war. I try to make sure that the kids have whatever it is that they need to be successful. Part of that is having writing utensil and erasers and scissors.
So that pencil war was come to class with a pencil.
Come to class with a pencil.
And
have your pencil sharpened.
It just so you were saying it was just like so much energy and time on your side that was just being either wasted and
right.
Okay.
Exactly. It's so much simpler just to buy a bunch of pencils when it's Walmart back to school time, and then hand them out. This right here, what you see in this corner is part of my stuff that I haven't found a home for yet because I'm trying to make this as student friendly as possible.
Sure.
So instead of having all of my stuff in the cupboards and tucked away in different places in the room, it's just sitting here, which won't stay.
But I guess speaks to the transition piece.
It's the transition, right? Exactly, and it will get. It's much better than it was, and it will continue to get better. Even my filing cabinets are available for the kids. That's where we keep all of our paper. We've got file folders and things in there that they can use for literacy or math or whatever it is that they need. Our library area, which again is in transition. I don't love the way it's set up, but it's usable right at the moment, and so we're not worrying about this space too much.
But the desire, I'm sure, we're trying to get to is
having the books out where the kids can actually see them. I like having the tubs because they'll grab it and take it back to their desk. They'll go through the books. They'll bring it back.
Oh, and they're labeled by genre.
And they're labeled by genre or by series, or topic.
Yep.
So it's a little bit easier for the kids to find what they're looking for, and theoretically, it's easier for them to put it back where it belongs. Doesn't always happen.
Doesn't always happen.
In theory.
Well, no, fourth graders. I have a fourth grader home, and she doesn't put things away ever.
Yeah, I know. It does get better. My kids are all older. It does get better. The kids call this the pillow nest, which is not even close to what I had expected them to use it for.
Yep.
But they love it. These are supposed to be floor pillows that they can bring out and sit on or lay on when they're working on the floor. And as a whole, they've decided to keep them all here, and I'll have 2 or 3 kids cram themselves in there and sit and read, and it's great.
They made a little like I said,
Nest.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they call it, their pillow nest. This is our curiosity counter, which has gotten a little bit out of control. I always start it at the beginning of the year with just some interesting things that I think the kids are going to like, and then they just take it over. So they find rocks on the playground, they find feathers, they find shells or whatever, and they bring it in.
But this is really important because it's one of the major principles of student-centered learning, which is being student-owned.
Absolutely.
They're owning it, and so this is what they're bringing in, so they have a say. And that's what I'm seeing with everything here, like this pillow corner, like everything else, is that they're really owning the space.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. And there are parameters on that. I mean,
Of course.
you can't just let them go and do whatever they want.
They can't just like graffiti the walls.
No, not at this point. Maybe later.
Maybe with the whiteboard paint.
Yeah, exactly. We've got another mess going down here, but again, it's all about what the kids
It's
need
not a mess,
or
it's
different
real.
Stuff. Well,
It's a real mess.
it is a real mess. Yeah. See, well, I used to be the teacher that everything had its place and everything was in rows and everything was the way that I wanted it to be. And so it's been really hard for me to let go of that. And so looking at this, I see a mess. But like I said, it's a real mess. It's a working mess.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 distinct groups that come in here. I've got my homeroom, which have the cubbies.
Okay.
I have my math group, and then I have my literacy group. And some of those kids I share within those groups, but I've got a lot of changes. And one of the biggest problems that we came up with was the kids do not have storage within this room to keep their literacy stuff, to keep their math stuff. And as 4th graders,
Oh,
like we
interesting.
talked about, they're not organized. and they forget stuff, and they're constantly going back to their locker or their homeroom to go and get things. And so, like the pencils, I just decided that's taking up too much time. It's not a fight I'm willing to fight. So I save Cheerios boxes. I eat a lot of Cheerios. And so I've just made, we call them book boxes, but we just cut them down, and the kids keep, this is a literacy one, but they keep their writing folder, their independent reading book, their vocabulary notebook, their reading notebook, and whatever else.
That's a great hack.
Yeah, whatever else it is that they need, they keep it here. We stick it on the shelf. When they come into class, they grab it, they put it on their table, and it's there. We don't have to do the whole.
And those won't last forever.
No, gosh, no. That's when what duct tape is for.
But also too, if or when it just gets completely destroyed, it's fairly easy to replace.
Absolutely, yeah.
So don't have to.
And there's, I mean.
Don't have to do a big budget for that.
Yeah, right, exactly. You're not trying to find something, even the plastic ones.
That's really impressive. That's really neat. I've never seen that. That's great.
Yeah, yeah. And then this is my teacher space, and you can tell that is not kid friendly. Everything's just kind of crammed in there. The kids know not to touch that. That is one of the very first things we talked about when we started making this their space.
Yep.
Is that I have to have space that's mine.
Yeah, of course.
It is their room. It is our space, but there are certain things that they can't touch. And so we really had to put those parameters up. Over on the other side, I'm actually going to bring you over here.
Yep.
All of our electronic stuff is supposed to be on a podium, which was set up at the front of the room. But Mrs. Imbert, who is one of our amazing coaches here, said, you know what, that would be a great standing desk, because I was trying to find a place for the kids who have a hard time sitting and stand. So we switched it. This is where my teacher desk was. I just put the desk up there for the electronics, brought the podium back here, and I have an extra tall stool for the smaller kids, because fourth graders, they come in all sizes. I've got a stool back here for the smaller kids that might want to work back here, because it's a little bit separated from the room, but also the kids who just need to stand for whatever reason.
That's my kid.
Right, exactly, yeah.
She cannot sit all day. She has to stand, and I totally get it, yeah.
That was my son, had to move. Had to move. So it gives them a place to work that, like I said, it's kind of separate. It's a little bit different height, so they can stand at it, just kind of repurposing that.
So, I mean, this is definitely, it's a transition.
Yes.
As you said.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a work in progress. So I don't want to take too much of your time. I know we're getting kind of close to the end, but I also want to ask, what are some of the successes that you've seen so far with the learning of students, and how, we saw the Curiosity Corner, they're making it their own, but what are in terms of student engagement, student achievement in learning, but also what are the challenges that you're facing?
So I want to talk about the challenges very quickly first, just so I can kind of get that out of the way. Like I said, I had the kids try all of the different seating styles,
the stools,
so that they
the balls,
could try it. The stool, the ball,
chairs, etc.
Whatever. I forgot to tell you one thing about tables that I want to go back to.
Okay.
But anyway, so everybody tried everything, and the idea behind that was, you try it, you find what works best for your body and your learning, and then that's the thing you're going to choose. Well, we've had a huge issue, as anybody who teaches this age group knows, between fair and equal. So they think that everybody has to have a turn in order for it to be fair. And so I've kind of tried to equate that to like people who wear glasses. Okay, I can't see anything without my glasses or my contacts, but in order for things to be fair, nobody's allowed to wear glasses, or everybody has to wear glasses. You know, we all need different things.
Equal, you mean?
Right, yeah, equal, sorry. But in order for it to be fair, we've got to have what we need to learn. So that has been an ongoing struggle. So we're at the point right now where I know which kids need to move, and I know what works best for them. Some of them can't sit on a yoga ball because all they do is bounce. They need a wiggle stool. Some of them work better on the floor, and so they have a spot on the floor. I am making those decisions right now because they just are not yet at the point where they can. So I'm kind of assigning who gets what, and they're okay with that.
But they're learning how to do it.
They are, absolutely.
They're learning how to advocate for themselves, and that's they haven't had that necessarily before.
Right. No.
This might be their first time that they're actually experiencing it, and that's an important lesson that they're learning. They're gaining that level of autonomy and independence on themselves.
Yes.
To be able to self-advocate.
Yes, absolutely. I think that for a lot of these kids, it's the first time they've really had choice like that amount of choice, and so that's a struggle. That's difficult to suddenly be facing that. When I do assign a space for someone, we talk about why. why is this going to happen today? Why is this working best for this group of people or this individual? And they're pretty open to that. They understand it because they know that I'm going to be fair about it. I'm not just arbitrarily handing things out. Some of the success stories I've seen, though, is this group of children, this fourth grade, they just move a lot in general. They're very, very active kids. And the energy level hasn't really changed. The energy level is still very high, but it's much more focused on what it is that we need to be doing. It's not just this chaotic energy everywhere. There's a lot of movement. Like I said, the kids are bouncing on the yoga balls, they're wiggling on the stools, they're up, this isn't working for me, I'm gonna go work someplace else. And that's okay, that's fine.
Sure.
But it's allowing them to focus on their learning and what it is that they need to be doing in order to be successful. I've had kids cram themselves into the milk crates just to contain themselves.
They just need that level
they're
of
learning.
security.
They know what they need. So they're figuring that out. And it's been really neat to watch that and to see some kids saying, I thought I needed this, but I really don't. So and-so can have it because I know they need it more. And just seeing that growth is very cool. Is there anything else in particular?
No, I think that does it. I also know, one of the big issues when changing a flexible learning space or changing it to be student-centered is it's not cheap. I mean, you have some hacks, but when it comes to yoga balls and stools and tables and trying to get these everything, I have a mantra I would love to have in my spaces. Everything is on casters, everything is on wheels because it should be able to be movable and transitional.
That is one of my complaints about these tables is that it's so hard and time consuming to move them when I need to reconfigure them.
I would love to be able to take the tables and just cover them in whiteboard paint.
Yes.
But you use
I use dry erase markers right on, and that's one of the reasons they're kind of ugly looking right now is because we were using the dry erase markers. But
budgets are a real problem, and we're in a small district in rural Maine that doesn't have a lot of money in the budget.
Right, exactly. So we do what we can to make it work. Absolutely. There was one thing I wanted to mention about the tables.
Yes,
because
that's right.
Not everybody wants to sit at the table to do work.
Yep.
So when we are doing, usually I use it for math, but when we're doing equations or math thinking on our tables, I'll just tip them down this way so that it's a vertical space for the kids to work on. They sit on the floor and then they can write on it. Yeah.
That's really clever.
It's just kind of a different way to use it.
So I'm going to wrap it up because I know we got to go because no kids are coming back.
They are.
And I'm going to post the link to you have a Donors Choose.
I do.
A space that you are looking for help support budgetarily, and I'll put the link again up on the Student Center Learning Community page, and hopefully people could just share it out.
Yes.
And
please do.
See what we can do to really make this space that truly transitional Student Center Learning space.
Yes.
Thank you for your time. I know it's a crazy kind of week.
It is.
And
That's okay. They all are.
Thanks again.
All right. Thanks, Matt.